Hi, my name's Luke, welcome back to PhotoBuy, and we are down checking out the new Nikon Z50, which is taking on the line from the Z6 and the Z7. So, let's get into it. Follow along from the success of the Z6 and Z7, which we believe has taken Nikon partially by surprise, as it was more seen as a concept of how mirrorless could look for Nikon. And because of its huge success, they have now evolved that into an APS-C version of the Z50. And as you can see, it's a tad smaller than what you would see with the Z6 and Z7, and that's the ideal situation because this is seen as more of a travel-friendly camera, and you can also tell that in the weight. Now, in terms of the specs, you're looking at a 20 megapixel APS-C sensor, you're looking at a 395 gram weight as well, and on the back you have an electronic viewfinder which has 100% coverage and a 35mm equivalent of a 0.68 magnification, which is fantastic because it means you're not having to look at a small screen on the inside, you can look at something much bigger. Now, one of the small differences and something new to the Nikon lineup is they've actually put in the bottom here a different type of battery. So this one they're calling the EL25. It's slightly bigger than the EL14s that we saw in Nikon's DSLR entry level, but slightly smaller than the EL15s that we saw in the higher end premium side of Nikon's lineup. Now, also on the inside as well, you won't be seeing an XQD card, you'll be seeing an SD card, which is fantastic news because it means that a lot of hobbyists who are currently running a Nikon camera, possibly an entry level or maybe a D7-100, they won't be having to look at buying an XQD card, they can just continue with their SD cards. Now, there's a number of different package options that you can go with the Z50. You can either have it body only, you can have it with the FTZ adapter, so that allows you to use your old Nikon glass, or shall we say your current Nikon glass more like, and that will go onto the camera via the adapter, so you can still get your autofocus and you can still perform those lenses as they should do out of the box. Now, apart from that, you've also got the newer lenses. You have the 16-50, which is a fantastic option. As you can see, it's a pancake design and then extends when you unlock it. And a very similar situation with their zoom lens, which we'll show you in the B-roll, and that'll be the 50-250, another very good lens. And the fantastic thing about the Z50 and their lenses is it's very lightweight. So it's the perfect travel companion. It doesn't take up much weight. I personally was half expecting a magnesium alloy body just by the design, but it made sense for them to go with a very strong and rigid plastic, which is much more durable as an entry-level camera, and it also helps with the weight. So in terms of the ISO, you can do 100 to 51,000 ISO. However, when you're shooting video, you're then looking at 100 to 25,000. So you lose about half the ISO on one end, but when it comes to video, this is where it gets really impressive. You have 4K video, but it uses the full sensor, so there's no crop, you get your full 4K, and the other benefit you have as well is that 1080p you can go up to 120 frames a second with sound, which is absolutely fantastic. So if you're a vlogger or you wanted to take film a bit more seriously as a photographer, you've got those benefits. And the screen at the bottom for those vloggers out there, very handy. It flips out to the bottom, which makes it very easy to use. Only downside we see is if you do have a tripod on the bottom and you're trying to film, it will obscure and prevent the screen from going down, but it's just a small issue which I'm sure some people have probably already overcome, but just something to bear in mind. And in terms of the menu, very intuitive. We've always found Nikon menus to be quite straightforward, and this is packed full of features. So in the back here, it's actually touchscreen, so you can go through your different options. They've also got the iMenu as well, so if you have any settings you keep going back to, you can store 12 of those settings in the iMenu. It just makes navigating much easier and makes the whole process much smoother. Now, for those of you who are into sports photography or you're doing wedding and you want a second camera, when it comes to the sports side of things, you actually have 11 frames a second. Now, you've also got silent shooting on this as well, which enables you to get the 11 frames a second. But if you're looking to do continuous autofocus, you can get up to 5 frames a second when using the mechanical shutter. So overall, a very versatile and a very feature-packed design camera. And we look forward to seeing Nikon pursuing these models more and more, and we're excited to go out and actually try the camera and see how it performs in the real world. So stay tuned for that. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, my name is Luke, this is PhotoBuy, and we'll see you next time.